welcome to Dream It, Dare It, Do It, Live the Life You Want. I am Jasmine, the Inspirist. Yes, I started calling myself the Inspirist. I think people who've been listening to me know that it's basically self-proclaimed. Like I just decided to call myself, but I'm funny like that. Um, I love to inspire people. That's what I love to do. And I also love it when, I talk with people and all of a sudden they get inspired. That's like super cool. So, that being said, today I have Jessica Silverman with me. Hi, Jessica.
Hi, Jasmine.
How you
So good to
doing?
be here. Oh, good, good.
Thank you so much for accepting the invitation. To everybody who's listening, you all know I've been so busy that I haven't had a chance to find guests, but guests have been finding me, which is super cool. So Jessica and I just met like 18 minutes ago. That's basically when we met. And we were just having a conversation before we got onto recording because we like to get, some connection going. Um, and we were talking about living the life that we want and just what gets us into this space. And we were talking about how we both learned of the three principles. We both studied the three principles, and and it's mind, thought, consciousness for those of you who don't know. And we I don't know about you, Jessica, you can speak to it after, but I found this space of inner peace, of calm, of what shows up this morning is love. Got this space of love. And I wish I would have known this when I was younger. And I'm super happy to talk to people who actually work with children and work with the younger generation. That's not me, by the way, just so you know. But Jessica is one of those persons. So, Jessica, do you want to just introduce yourself to my listeners?
Sure, sure. So, some of the roles that I play include being a mom, I am a wife, I am a change coach, and a speech language pathologist. And maybe I'll go into a little bit about what a change coach is because people may not be familiar with what that even means.
Yeah.
So, I did get my certification through Dr. Amy Johnson. And as a change coach, the way I see it is I just help people, I help facilitate the change that people desire. So we together we would explore what they're up against, what they think is in the way of living the life they want, doing things that they enjoy. We would explore that. We would look and see, what are these obstacles? What is getting in the way? Why aren't you doing what you desire? And we kind of look and see, where does our experience of life come from? And from there, change happens. I love what you were saying, Jasmine, about love and peace. And I think so often we look outside of ourselves for peace. We look, what can we do to find peace, or what can we do to be happy? And the thing is, what we're looking for, we have. We just forget that.
Mm-hmm.
We so often forget that what we're looking for is here, right now, in this moment. And the only thing that gets in the way is thinking that looks real and true and solid.
Thinking that you should be something other than who you are, because who you are is not good enough, or is whatever you're thinking in that moment, right?
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, it's hard to get though when you're stuck in it. When you're stuck in it, that they're like, I know for a fact that, because I was told this, you know, I went get coaching, and I did these classes, and like, I'm gonna fix myself. Let me figure it out, and I'm gonna do it. And I think that, when we're talking about truth, with the truth of life, everybody's kind of pointing into that direction. So it's like everybody had their own slant, but in the end they would say that. They would say, it's, you have it, it's in you. And I'd be like, oh, shut up. I'd be like, oh, just leave me alone. So if you who's listening is actually thinking that right now, totally get it. Totally get it. There's something that happens though when you start looking within, when you start looking at what it is that you're doing, and looking and being honest with yourself, or being true with yourself. I remember the first time I saw myself manipulating to get what I want, you know, that was not good news.
Mhm.
It was not good news when I saw it, but seeing it changed my life.
Mhm.
It's kind of like, wow, like, I think I know better, and I think I should have this, or I should do that, and then just using my words to manipulate it to where I wanted it to go. And seeing it, I was able to drop it and just go, okay, well, you know what? Just trust that whatever happens, you can handle. You don't have to control anything. It was tiring, honestly, to be able to have to control everything. So I don't know, like, have you seen anything
Oh
like
my gosh. Yeah,
that?
what you say really resonates. I mean, these our experiences can feel so real and so compelling that we think we're kind of justified in what we say and what we do because for whatever reason.
Yeah.
um but it's like each of these experiences, you talk about it being exhausting, right?
Yes.
That is such a beautiful part of our design. Like things that feel really hard and really exhausting and really painful, perfect. It's like the perfect alarm letting us know that we're caught up. And so even though I'm saying this, you were saying like you heard this and you're like, whatever. I don't
Yeah.
know what this is a bunch of
Yeah.
hooey. Even though I know this, there are times, Jasmine, I am totally caught up.
Of course. Me
I
too.
am totally caught up. And this sounds like nonsense. And I don't know, whatever. That's not true in this moment. In this moment, things are horrible. And that's okay too. But it is times like this that do have a way of waking us up.
Yeah.
Like waking us up saying, hey, there's more than this. This may not be how it appears right now. And it's like our bodies let us know that tightness, that constriction when we're tired, when we're overwhelmed, when we're stressed. It's the perfect, loving alert that we're just caught up.
Hmm.
And that's how I see it when I'm not caught up.
Yeah. It's so
But it,
funny.
yeah.
What's showing up for me right now is I I I don't like suffering. I just don't like suffering. And I mean, obviously I don't like physical suffering for sure. But I don't like when it's a mental suffering, you know? Like the mental suffering is the worst for me, you know? And why I love this understanding that we've learned is because you can see how you don't have to do anything with your mental, whatever you're mentally entertaining, you don't have to do anything with it. If you actually, fact is, if you actually do nothing with it, it'll pass way quicker than if you do something with it. But it inevitably passes. Like I remember, I don't even know if this was a Bible verse or something like that. I'm not religious, but I had this friend who kept telling me when I was first in this conversation, it's like, this too shall pass. This too shall pass. And it's true, everything passes if we think about it. The good, the bad, the ugly, every single thing passes. And when you let it go, when, of course, there's a letting go of it. And when I say letting go, I'm talking about don't feed whatever mental noise you have. Just notice that you've got mental noise and then it'll fade, you know?
What what's occurring to me is the metaphor that so many people in this conversation use, which is the snow globe.
Yeah.
And if you have a snow globe that's shaken up and someone asks you, how would you have the snow settle? You don't shake it more. You put it down on a surface and it settles on its own.
Yeah.
And so often, innocently, when we're suffering, and by the way, I don't like suffering either. I don't know many people who are like, bring it on, but maybe there are people who do.
Maybe
Maybe.
sadokists, people that are sadokists or something.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But if you see that suffering is just the snow globe that's it's busy right now, but will settle on its own. Like you say, there's nothing you have to do.
Yeah.
It's like if you just kind of leave it there, it's going to do its thing and it's going to settle. And you will no longer be suffering. And the other piece of this is, and I think this is so important, is I think so often we think that when we're feeling really anxious or depressed or overwhelmed or stressed, that somehow says something about who we are, that there's something wrong with us, that we're broken in some way, that there's something that needs to be fixed, changed. And when we see that all of those experiences are temporary, are fluid, they come and they go, there's ebb and flow, then the less we feel pulled to try to fix and change it.
Yeah.
So even though we may not like it, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Even though we may not like it and we want it to go away, if there's this, even a quiet knowing that it's not a problem, we're less likely to, like you said, feed it, give it more energy. It doesn't make as much sense when you see that.
But what I was going to say when you started saying that is that I used to be I used to have a lot of anxiety. Um, and and sometimes it could last 3 weeks. Like it was a long time. It wasn't just like, okay, I'm gonna be anxious for an hour. No, no, no. It was like, let me be anxious for 3 weeks. But what I would do in those moments is I would just basically lock myself in the house and close the windows and turn the phones off, and you know not interact with people, and then mentally suffer. There's a problem with me now, and look at me this, and then the anxiety would grow. That's why it would last 3 weeks, you know. And and then I discovered that thoughts are energy, right? And that emotions are energy. And I made this test one time, and I was like, okay, I'm getting anxiety. Like I knew what to do with anxiety. Do you understand? Like I was so used to it that like I said, I knew what to do. I just, okay, this is going to last for a while. And all depending if my mood was really low, I would feed it super long or I would feed it less long. Right. But I knew that if I sat and listened to TV for a little while, it was less suffering because my mind was on the television show. And and I knew that it would pass and then I would come back. Like those are things that I knew for sure. I never thought I would get stuck in it, right? But I hated those periods. I just hated them, right? And then when I learned that, basically thoughts, emotions, they're energies and they're going through your body. Basically, that's what's going on. So I did this exercise and I was able to, when I felt the anxiety coming to me, I knew it was coming. I was like, oh, here it is. It's coming. And I remembered, like, I just had an insight of saying, okay, just feel it. Let yourself feel it, because I wouldn't feel it, right? Like when I'd be busy in my mind, I was like, okay, no, let me go watch TV now, because I wouldn't let myself feel it. So I said, okay, let me feel it. So I sat down when I felt that emotion, and I felt it coming into my plexus, my solar plexus, and I felt it move up to my face. I became red. And interestingly enough, I wasn't caught up in it. Like I was like, because I was testing. I was looking at the emotion, I was not doing the usual thing of, oh man, this is happening and now I'm gonna lose 3 weeks. And like, because that would come up also. And so I wasn't in it. It was kind of like it's happening to me. I
Mhm.
wasn't in it. And so it I saw it move throughout my body. And I remember sitting at the table and I had a friend with me. And I was just like, whoa, oh my God. Like it was just traveling my body. My friend was like, what's going on right now? you know? And I'm like, I'm doing an experiment. And he's like, "What are you experimenting? I'm having an emotion right now." And he just thought it was funny. But that totally transformed my relationship with it, because it disappeared within like 5 minutes. And then I was like, "Oh my God, it's gone." It was just mind blowing. My mind went, you know. And then after that, I started being detached from emotions. And then I started like they the emotion was in me. It was like, it was not Jasmine is anxious. It was, I'm having an anxious moment, which totally detached me from it and transformed. Like I still have anxiety to this day. And then I kind of go, okay, there must be a lot of thinking going on right now, but I'm not stopped by it anymore. I don't get stuck in it. I don't, I can move, I can do something.
I love that. Two things.
Yeah.
I thought of two things when you were sharing that. One is that saying that what you resist, what is it? what you resist
You resist,
persists.
persist. Yeah.
It's that resistance when we think it shouldn't be happening and we try, like, metaphorically push it down. That energy wants to come out. It wants to come out and be seen and just move. But when we think it's a problem and shouldn't be there, we have a tendency to try to make it go away.
Yeah.
And it can tend to stick around a little bit longer. But I love what you were saying. You just feel it. Like,
Yeah.
it's that difference between, I need to make this go away, this is a problem, to, okay, this is what's happening.
Yes.
There's like a lightness in that.
Yeah.
This is what's happening. I'm just going to feel it. I'm just going to feel this anxiety. I'm just going to feel this depression.
Yeah. Just feel the sadness too. I do cry.
Yeah.
I'm not going to cry. You crazy? I ain't going to cry. I can't show weakness. No, just feel it. I mean, just feel it. Don't feed it.
Just feel it. Yes. Yeah. I mean, I think of all those times where I like try to hold back tears. It hurts.
Yes.
It wants to come out. Like, it wants to move and flow through. There's something so healing about that.
Yeah. It's our body doing its thing.
Yes.
Just like the plant is going to lift her arms up because I gave her water now. It's just life doing its thing. Your body's got to do its thing too.
Yeah, our bodies are so wise in many ways. It's like when you're sick and you have a fever. Sometimes before you realize that fevers are actually your body's way of healing, you think, oh, again, this is a problem. I need to get rid of this fever. And sure, a really high fever you don't necessarily want. But when you see that that's just your body's way of getting rid of what's not meant to be there, you're like, oh, okay, my body's doing its job. It's doing what it's designed to do. It's designed to keep us alive.
Yeah.
And safe and thriving.
Yeah. I think that, and it's innocent, what we do is just a misunderstanding, like if I would have understood that anxiety was just like me overthinking some crap, and the fact that I had it constantly is because I kept overthinking it, like it was just repetitive thought. So, like for me, one of the things was human beings are creatures of habits. Like we are creatures of habits. So we create, like I remember my mother would say, okay, go brush your teeth, and I don't remember her telling me to go brush my teeth. I remember that this was something that she taught me. So in the beginning, like kids, they fight, right? They're like, no, okay. Yeah, no, I brushed my teeth. Wait, let me smell your breath. No, you didn't brush your teeth. Go brush your teeth, right? So like we kind of argue about it. We kind of like, what do they want? What do these humans want? These parents want? I mean, so but at one point it became a habit. I don't even think about it now. I get up, I brush my teeth, right? But we also do that with thoughts. There are thoughts that we have that we're like constantly repeating and that we forgot why we created them. I mean, I think I talked about this in the last podcast. Sorry if I'm repeating myself, people, but I'm talking to Jessica now and she doesn't know. So, like, one of the insights that I got was that I was striving to be a good girl, and I had all these habits that I had created in my life in order to be a good girl. I was like, I would do this, I would do that, I would do this, I would do that. And I saw that I don't need to strive to be a good girl. I am a good girl. But now all these habits are showing up that are making me go, why am I doing that? Like it's kind of like it's just like they're unraveling and there's a change occurring, right? That I didn't force the change. I'm just like, no, it just doesn't make sense for me to do anymore because I don't need to strive to be a good girl.
Yeah. So many of these beliefs, Jasmine, they form, and I love the word innocently, like
Yes.
innocently when we're younger, that I need to be a good girl in order to be accepted, be loved, be okay, or whatever the reason is.
Yeah.
Or I need to be quiet so I don't stand out, so I don't get in trouble or be seen as too much. And that can stay with us in a sense, not as a permanent thing, but it can kind of be carried through time and show up in our lives in different ways. And it's not that we need to dig into our past and find out all the reasons why, but
Yeah.
just to see, yes, so many of these things just become a habit because there's this belief there
Yeah.
that we were mistaking as a truth.
Yeah.
Like you said, like just it's all a misunderstanding. And yes, our brains are habitual by design. It needs to be efficient to keep us alive and safe. And just like habits, you know, habits that we want, maybe like brushing our teeth so our teeth don't fall out, or
Eating right.
eating. I was going to say that, eating, maybe making a bed. I don't know. There are certain habits that we
Yeah.
get into that we wouldn't
Yeah.
necessarily
I don't
hold
have that
ourselves.
habit. I don't
I
have
never
that
did.
one. My bed is not made.
It doesn't say anything about you.
Yeah. Thank you.
But yeah, but our mind is habitual also. Like I have definite habitual thoughts, like thoughts that come up when the phone rings late at night.
Yeah.
What does that mean? Who's hurt? Who's injured? What happened? And it's not something, I don't put those thoughts there. They come up.
Yeah.
And I could probably point to the reason why, but it doesn't matter. But it's seeing that, these are just habitual thoughts. And they're not showing up because we have to pay attention to them. Like that we can think that that's the case. Like, oh, if it comes up this often, that means it must be important.
Yes.
This must be a premonition. This must be
That's the big
something.
crock.
Yeah.
Right? I agree. That's such a, like, guys, it's not because it comes back often that it's real. It's not true.
Yeah.
That's just habit.
Yeah. And it's this seeing that makes the difference. It's not all the doing. We don't need to have a whole practice. Although, if a meditation practice, or going for walks in nature, or spending time with your plants, or watching TV, if those feel good to you in a moment, by all means do that.
Yes.
And it's not about that, but it's continuing to see where our experience comes from. And that has a way of just shifting things naturally.
I'm listening right now. I'm listening to a Netflix series, and it's called The Circle. I don't know if you've ever heard of it. I like reality TV and stuff like that. So The Circle is basically a bunch of players that are playing a social media game. They cannot see themselves, and it's all text. They're all typing. It's like, they talk to one another via text. And some people are catfishes. Basically, some people are pretending to be somebody else. And we can see sometimes the guy is pretending to be a girl, talking to a girl who's actually a girl. And this girl is writing words pretending to be a guy for a girl. And this guy is just making stuff up. But this girl is like, so now all of a sudden they're enamored. And for me, it's just such a fantastic representation of how it all occurs in your head. You're the one generating the and you think it's him, right? And then you're going to discover that him is a her, and then you'll be like, oh, you got me. You were so mean. You were so this. No, you made it up, man. You just like it all comes from within. And it's just for me so fascinating to see. Like right now, I'm having a client that I'm going to call them problems. They're not problems at all. I know that it's my mind, it's my thoughts. And I know that I'm projecting something, and I'm not doing anything with it. I'm just like, oh, look at that. Look at look at this going on, all of the stuff that I'm creating about this client that has nothing to do with the client, and it's really interesting. And I'm like, no, I'm not doing anything until I'm clear. I just know that the feeling is yucky. So if the feeling is yucky, it's not the truth, because the truth is peaceful. The truth is, and it's peaceful even when you think it's going to be bad. Like when you hit the truth, like I remember when my mom passed, this is my go-to example, but my mom was on her deathbed, and my feeling was peaceful. I was sad, but my feeling was peaceful. And I was like, okay, no, this is good. You can go, you can go be free, and I did the same thing with my dog when my dog passed also. So it's like the truth just doesn't feel like shit.
That should go on a t-shirt.
Yeah.
Truth doesn't feel like shit. Yeah. Oh, I love that. That's so beautiful, Jasmine. That peace, that love that we feel. We can be sad, but there's love there. There can still be peace there. And I just think of how this knowing can be so helpful in any relationship, whether it be with a client or with a partner or with your child. And now I have to look into that show on Netflix. What did you say? Circle? I have to like look into that, because that sounds really interesting.
There's 3 seasons. Get ready. Get ready to binge.
All right. Got to start my binge watching now. But I just think we tend to think that our feelings are coming from the text.
Yes.
From our loved one, from our friend, from our client. But I love what you were saying. Like it's coming from what's arising within us. It's like there's something happening, and then the mind creates all of this meaning. And it's that meaning that we're feeling.
And once you could get those feelings, that feeling that's emerging inside of you, you're creating it. That's actually your creation. Yeah. It belongs to you. Don't give it away. Like if I'm feeling this peaceful love feeling, I'm going to own that. And I'm going to be like, wow, I can create that. I'm just like, like whenever I watch these shows where the girls are like, oh, he makes me feel whole. No, it's not him. You're doing that on your own. You don't even need him, man. That's what shows up for me. Like we're all, I've been single a long time, and I had this phrase that's like that showed that I used to have these phrases stuck all over, like through my journey of doing my life. I would put these quotes, and one of the quotes was, get to learn to love yourself, because you're with yourself more the time than with anybody else, you know? And yeah, like you can get to have these beautiful feelings just because of where you're focusing your energy, where you're so for a long time I didn't like the yucky stuff that would show up, because my focus was on how wrong I was and how much I had to fix myself. And then I'd get ticked off because I was in such a bad shape. You know what I mean? I was like,
Mhm.
oh man. But now I'm just like, oh, look at this. Like today's beautiful. Oh, look, I got this. Oh, I'm doing a podcast episode. Oh, I'm meeting this person. It's just like this new feeling of peace, of calm, of joy, of love. I come back to love. Coming back to love.
Oh. Well, first, it makes me think of the Jack Pransky quote. What I have it written down so I didn't forget. All we are is peace, love, and wisdom, and the power to create the illusion that we are not.
Mm, lovely. Well, you know what? That is a beautiful ending to our episode. I'm going to ask you to repeat it.
Okay. All we are is peace, love, and wisdom, and the power to create the illusion that we are not. And that is Dr. Jack Pransky.
Fantastic. Jessica, it was fun. So happy to meet you.
Mm. This has been so enjoyable for me, Jasmine. It's really been an honor. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Before we leave, can you tell people like if they want to get in touch with you so that you can help them with their parenting, whatever you call it?
Yes, yes. So you can email me at parentingwithclarity@gmail.com. I also have my website is parentingwithclarity.com.
Yeah.
And yeah, my specialty is working with parents, but I'm very passionate about supporting teens and young adults and really anybody who is struggling with overwhelm and stress and anxiety. And yeah, so
Beautiful. I hope that you're gonna get to speak to a whole bunch of people. You've got a beautiful Zen energy to you.
oh,
So
oh, that's so sweet. Thank you so much, Jasmine.
thank you. Everybody else, I'm gonna say, hey, dream it, dare it, do it, live the life that you want. Have a good one. Take care.